So when you're champ and you're about to fight for the title and shit, they're gonna be like, all right, look, we all know about the bird story from Talksmackwithmac in 2022.
Whole crew's gonna come out with bird. Like, you know that crazy like bird mask from back in the day, like the doctor ones.
When you say bird mask, I'm thinking of like Beetlejuice when he had the cone head.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's terrifying. That's horrible.
That's gonna be the opponent's whole getup and shit.
Honestly.
How are you gonna react?
Cry.
And then beat her ass?
Yeah.
Beat her ass even more because you cried?
Because she scared me and because she made me cry. And then I got embarrassed for crying. I'm a very emotional fighter.
Yeah. That's how Rose is. Rose Namajunas. Mm-hmm. She's like, I feel like she cried after the last handful of fights.
Oh, yeah.
I've
cried before and after every fight and every tournament. Couldn't really tell you why every time, but for sure cried. I mean, I usually try to hold it till I get to the car.
So out of all the things that you've ever done, is fighting the number one adrenaline rush?
Oh, yeah.
By far?
That's why I keep trying to do things like skydiving, swimming with sharks, doing this and that to try to find that same exact rush, and nothing compares to it.
That's the only one.
Nothing. Yeah.
All right, now I could do the welcome back to Talk Smack with Mac, man. So I have Keana Montenegro, one of the most badass up-and-coming MMA fighters out of California, and I'm just honored to sit down and talk to you. You know, actually in the flesh. It's not a virtual pod.
Nice.
Like,
this is nice.
Vibing off energies and shit. You see the light board and you know, get to talk your shit. But anyways, I'm very, very grateful. I know you're in town, you're on vacation, you only have a little bit of time to talk, but you're sharing some time with me on the pod and the Smack
This
Talkers,
is like my main
man.
priority being out here. I was visiting family and stuff, and I was like, I gotta make it to this podcast. So I told them, I was like, all right, you guys, plan whatever, but I was like, Sunday is my day. Like, I got stuff to do. And they're like, all right, we'll drop you off to your thing.
You know what? You're setting like the downslope of the roller coaster now. One of the most badass chicks is getting on Talk Smack with Mac, so now everybody else needs to, right?
Yeah.
People coming into Vegas, they got their fights, UFC Fight Night.
Yeah, you guys get tons of visitors.
Yeah, so. Saturday we're fighting, but Sunday, goddammit, I'm gonna be on Talk Smack with Mac. It's starting with you. I appreciate it.
Cool, I'm glad
but yes, on this episode, I want to learn about you. Okay. You know, you're up and coming. When you got started with fighting, I know you probably talk the same stories over and over on other podcasts. But I'm going to find a way to make it a little bit motherfucking different.
And this is Talk Smack with Mac. It's different.
Yeah, right. Talk your shit.
Razzle dazzle.
How many times have you shared the bird story?
I've shared this story a good few times because obviously it comes up like, oh, like, what's a big fear? And everyone's like, the dark, spiders, failure. And I'm just like, pigeons. Like,
you're not scared of the dark at all?
No, actually, so that's funny. Me and my sister, we shared a hotel room last night, and our thing is always, she needs like a nightlight or something. I would rather be in a pitch black room. Mm-hmm. I'm more afraid of like a little bit of light showing than being in like a pitch thing. So yeah, no, I'm completely fine with the dark. I'm cool with spiders. I'm cool with snakes. I'm cool with all that. And not much scares me except fighting and birds. Yeah.
Fighting and birds. And at the moment, what's more, birds or fighting? You said fighting like conquers everything, but you look pretty fucking scared in that bird video.
Probably birds. Yeah. I'd rather go fight some heavyweight than deal with like a little 3-ounce pigeon. Like,
So if somebody slaps down $25,000 right now, you got to fight a bird. You throwing them hands?
I'm going to do it, but I'm going to be crying. Yeah. It's going to be humiliating, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm a little Donald Cerrone stuff. I will not say no to a fight.
I know that's right. How many fights does Cowboy have? Like 50?
I don't know, but not to get off, kind of off topic. So funny story about Cowboy. I came out here and I trained at Syndicate around the same exact weekend last year. And so I trained there and stuff. And Coach Wood, I think it is, that you basically have to get like invited or like be allowed to do the pro team practice. And so I was already there for Josh Shapiro, I think, his regular jiu-jitsu class. And then I saw the pro practice about to start. And I just asked permission, and I was like, hey, like, can I join the class? And they're like, yeah, do you have fights? You know, and I was like, yeah. So they let me join in. Super cool. Everyone's sparring and all this. And I run into, are you familiar with his name's Curtis? He trains out here. He just fought recently.
Chris Curtis?
Yes.
Yeah.
He used to train in Temecula in California. So I met him out there and I ran into him out here. Also, mind you, I have pretty bad vision. And so I don't have to see to fight though. But so I run into Chris and I'm like, oh, like, let's take a picture, you know? I turn and I hand my phone to Cowboy, asking him to take the photo of us. Just maybe because I didn't see him with the cowboy hat or something, you know. I was like, God, Keana, you're such a fake fight fan. Because I say it, and Chris looks at me, and Cowboy's like about to do it, and Chris is like, that's the one you want to be getting the picture with. And I stop and I look at him and I was like, and they're cracking up. They're like, hey, bro, that was pretty humbling, huh? So I got my photo with Chris, but then I also got my photo with Cowboy, and I was just like, I'm sorry, I just got hit in the head a lot right now.
Pro sparring.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Chris Curtis. That boy went on a fucking tear in the last 7-8 months.
It took so long for him to finally see him in the UFC. I remember I was at B-Dubs with my family watching, and I was like, and I kind of wasn't aware of like who was all on the card that night, and I saw him on there, and I was like, finally, you know, that man works his ass off. Like I said, I've known him since he's or like at least like watched and admired him since he's been training in Temecula, which is like a neighboring city to where I live in California. And so, yeah, it's great to finally see him get a shot.
Dude is shredded, so you can tell he takes care of himself.
He's a bad man. He's like the biggest sweetheart too. So sweet.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these fighters are.
That's how, yeah.
That's a lot of them
you
are.
get all your aggression out in the octagon or in training, in sparring. You know, and especially if you're training hard as fuck, you're not really going to have too much energy to like
if you're hard sparring and hard training and you're still walking around angry, like, it's a little deeper than that, you know?
Unless you're Strickland, you know, we'll give him a pass. That guy, he's one of the few people that make me fucking nervous.
Yeah.
That guy
I saw him
crazy.
recently at an open mat in California too, when I went to go train in San Diego, and I like did a quick glance, and like I said, pretty shitty vision, and I did a quick glance and I was like, is that? Because it's another thing. Almost went up and asked him to roll. And I was like, yes, Keana, you're just going to casually walk up and ask Sean Strickland to roll with you. Like, so yeah, maybe I should do contacts or something. Because who am I going to ask next?
I mean, fuck it. You can go in there and get fucked up by somebody or fuck somebody up that's maybe you didn't even know you could.
Exactly. So if I could at least last like a cool 25 seconds with Sean Strickland, I'm game. That's cool.
Right. And Sean Strickland, he's a bigger cat. He's like, he doesn't, like when he has clothes on and shit like that, it doesn't really seem like
he was walking around in like his tight, short spats, shirtless, and I was like, that's a big boy, you know?
Yeah.
He's tall.
Strong as an ox. So, and that's how all of you fucking fighters are, man. It's hard. So like growing up, and especially when I was in the military, I was always convinced that like wrestlers were some of the strongest people I ever met in my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm getting a little taste of that shit. Them motherfuckers grabbing me and throwing me around and shit.
Because wrestling, like the conditioning alone as is, I did wrestling for maybe like 2 months in high school. But the only thing is, so like word was around that like I did jiu-jitsu and whatnot, and they're like, hey, like why don't you try wrestling, you know? And I was like, all right, sure. They put me straight to the boys varsity team with like me and 40 boys that have been wrestling like all 4 years of high school. I'm jiu-jitsu. I was like a dirty little guard puller at the time. Like I was cool with being on my back, you know? And so I didn't realize signing up for wrestling, I basically signed up for like track and strength and conditioning. Like their conditioning was insane. I thought I was in shape. It was insane. Yeah. So yeah, wrestlers are a different breed.
That's one thing that we're gonna dive into is like the conditioning and shit that you do. I'm like enamored with finding out like cardio routines because I try to implement it in my own workouts and shit like that. And one guy that I'm constantly chasing, I don't know if you know Mike Davis. Have you heard of him? He won. I think it was like last January. He won Fight of the Month. In the UFC. He's a real talented cat, always dealing with injuries and shit like that, so hopefully he stays healthy. But his condition is fucking ridiculous. One of the things that he does is 200 stairs on the Stairmaster. Whew. And, all right, dude was doing it in like 25, 30 minutes. Meanwhile, when I got on there, it took me like 45 minutes. And I think I'm in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
This dude is something else. So, like, what is your cardio like? What are you doing for your cardio?
Yeah. So one thing I try to do is focus a lot on. You realize breath work and breathing is such an important role. You could have the best cardio, but once you go on the stage and you're fighting, and if you let that anxiety and the cardio get to you, adrenaline dump is a real thing, you know? So I focus so much on the fact that your breath is like the only thing that sticks with you forever, you know? So I definitely focus all the time on breath work and whatnot. So something I do for that is obviously in a fight, it's very high pace, adrenaline, whatnot, nonstop 3 or 5 minutes, and you slow down. You know, a fight is constantly up and down. And so something I do a lot for that is I do a lot of like sprint sets. So I'll do like incline sprints for however I'm feeling that day, whatever I want to do, 30, 45 seconds, sometimes a minute. And then I'll give myself, since we have a minute break in between rounds, I try to cut that in half and lower my heart rate from nearly 200 to about 145 in like 30 seconds, and with very deep breath work. So I try to strictly do in and out of my nose. And so sometimes I'll do it out of my mouth, but really just to push it. And so since I have a minute between rounds, at least like while I'm training, I want to at least like just try to lessen that, just so that a minute feels like grace,
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of sprint sets, like the incline, just a lot of training, I do, usually my Sunday routine in California is, I don't know if they have it out here, open mat.
It's usually Saturdays.
Okay, yeah, out there a lot of gyms have it on Sundays, and so you go and maybe from like 10 to 12, it's just open mat and you just roll. And so I'll go do that and just try to do like as many rounds as I can without taking a break. So that's just part of cardio I try to get in.
Minute break in between like each roll, or are you still just going nonstop?
Oh yeah, no, typically I do, like they have the timers and stuff there, so just like they'll have their minute break, like either get water, try to find another partner, and then start from there. So I try to go as many rounds as I can without a break, and then usually like the first like after like the first hour and a half, then I'll finally try to like sit out and chill. But
good for you.
Yeah, so
That
mainly
shit
a
is
lot of the
tough.
cardio I try to make it realistic to like what I'm doing, So a lot of that I'll try to do bag work drills too. So I go to the gym and I'll do like typically 3 rounds on the bag of like 3 or 5 minutes, So just I try to keep my cardio similar to what I do.
Yeah.
With some running in there, which I hate, but
All
I'll do
right,
it.
shit, we're gonna find out how good my cardio is when this podcast is
Yeah,
over, because
I'm excited
I'm
for
trying
that.
I'm trying to fuck you up. Maybe not like cardio wise.
All right, we'll
Like
see.
I don't know
I'm gonna
about
push you through
sparring
it.
and
I'm
shit,
gonna
but
push you through it.
yeah,
If you
yeah, I
spar,
want
we
you
can
to.
spar.
Maybe. You bring headgear?
Do what?
Did you bring headgear?
No.
All right,
you see this big noggin? It's
Well, I got a small ass peanut head, but I got headgear, so I don't know. I might feel
I
froggy.
don't know.
I don't know.
Let's in the cardio part first. I'll try to put you through it.